What's up guys, my name is Kevin Duver and today we're going through my camera bag. So, welcome to this little walkthrough tutorial review thing, I guess. I hope that everyone is having a good week. This video is very gear oriented, so if by chance you're like, man, I don't really care, then check out the link in the video. Maybe that'll take you to somewhere you would like to go. The reason I wanted to do this was two main reasons. First, as a documentary for me to look back on someday, and second, because when I first started buying gear, like, obviously cost is a problem, but you also want to get good lenses, good things like that. And so maybe this will serve as some kind of beginner guide for those wanting to get into cinematography and photography alike. So, like I said, we're just going to run through the camera body, the lenses, my monopod, everything from the Joby, everything like that. All of the links, you will find them in the description to each said item. Check those out, and let's get into it. So, first and foremost is I got the Canon Rebel T7i about it got shipped to me. I received it about a week and a half, 2 weeks right after it came out. And there's a couple main reasons why I decided the T7i over something like a T6i. First and foremost, I didn't have the budget or the proper reasoning to buy something like certainly a full frame camera, because those are hella expensive. And two, even something like an 80D or 70D, that was still a couple or a few $100s more than I was wanting to spend, considering I didn't know where all this would go. I just kind of wanted a camera to vlog, maybe take some photos, even though I hadn't even considered that, and actually do videos just for anyone, really, just because I like making videos. For example, guitar videos. Speaking of that, if you want to see some moderately okay, I wouldn't even call them fair, I guess. They're not, if you want to see some shoddy guitar cover videos, check that out in the description. My other channel, Kevin Duver, you'll just see when you get there. Anyways, the T7i. There's a couple main reasons that I got it. First and foremost, and the most important reason, is because it was the first Rebel series, I believe, don't quote me, to have dual pixel autofocus. And I knew that video was going to be a big part of why I was getting a DSLR, therefore, it only made sense to go with that. Plus, it has everything that you might want or need when you're doing something like vlogging. The flip out touch screen, the autofocus obviously is awesome, especially in face tracking mode, which is in right now. Let's move on to lenses. So, the first lens that I got, obviously, was the kit lens that came with the camera body. That being the Canon 18-55. I'm pretty sure it's marketed as a 3.5, but this only is 4.0, so maybe it's an older model, I don't know. But for a kit lens, it's really good, actually. Granted, it is the first lens that I ever got. Obviously, I didn't know anything better when I got it, and now I'm kind of upgrading. I'm on my way to upgrade, but we'll get to that later. Anyways, the 18-55, I'm going to use this as my main vlogging lens unless I get a 10-18, but time will tell. Bonus, it is image stabilized. Being a beginner photographer and videographer, the image stabilization did in fact help. The zoom ring is smooth, as well as the focus ring, and it's small, compact, and light. At 18 millimeters, it is fairly wide, so that's why I use it for vlogging, and as well as right now landscape photography or anything like that. At 55, it's pretty good. When I first got this lens, 55 is definitely what I would use for portraits. Now, downsides to the 18-55 are the aperture. Being that mine is, I think, 4.0 to 5.6 at 55, it is not good in low light. That being said, the T7i is decent in low light, but once you start surpassing like 1600 ISO, 16 is like the max I try to run it on, because you start introducing a lot of noise, and as soon as you start losing any light, this starts to fail you. I actually changed, and that leads us to the next lens of discussion, the Canon 50mm f1.8, otherwise known as the Nifty 50. Now I got this for a few different reasons. It was cheap, it's light, it's compact, and obviously the f1.8 aperture is a big help and something that I definitely wanted, considering I like low light and night photography, cinematography. Also, being that I'm on a crop sensor with a T7i, it's a 1.6 crop factor. So 50 times 1.6 is 80. So being an 80mm, this is what I now use for entry portraits or things of that nature. So downsides to the Nifty 50 are few, but some. I don't think at the moment, and this is kind of changing, but I like zoom lenses because I like the versatility of being able to cover so much more ground as opposed to have to physically move with the camera. So say that you're standing at a window in a building and you want to get that picture, you see it at 50mm, or in other words 80, you're stuck. You physically, I mean, unless you want to jump out the window, good luck. It's stuck at 50 or stuck at 80. So that's one downside to the Nifty 50 and prime lenses, I personally feel. The upside to that is, like I said, the aperture. Just spend 30 seconds searching up camera lenses and you will almost immediately find that prime lenses are able to run a lower aperture or faster aperture, which by all intents and purposes is better, in my opinion. The only other minor gripe that I have with the Nifty 50 is that it isn't image stabilized. So for video, it doesn't matter now because I'm using either a monopod or a tripod, so it doesn't matter. I have some form of image stabilization besides my hands, so that's all things to consider prior to buying the Nifty 50. But let's be realistic, it's less than $200, I believe. So I mean, save up for a week or two and it'll just be, it's worth it in the end. That leads us to my third and final lens, and I was hesitant to even add this one into this video because it's not really a beginner lens or something that I had previously. It's something that I literally just got, and that is the Canon 100mm macro lens. This is my first L lens, my second prime lens, my first red ring. Oh. All joking aside, this lens is amazing. I absolutely love it. This lens is extremely sharp, comparable to the kit lens and the Nifty 50. It is fantastic for macro photography. It is also 100mm, so I mean, the compression that you get from this is just mind-blowingly good. This is by far my favorite lens I have to date. So why did I get it? All those reasons, plus it is image stabilized. I was going to go with a cheaper non-image stabilized version, but I figured, you know what, I won't regret getting image stabilized later on, so we'll just save up a few more coins. Bang, here we are. As of now, I have zero complaints with this lens. The main difference is it is substantially heavier than the 10 to 18. But let's be realistic, more glass, higher quality, I'm okay with that. You know, it's actually kind of funny because when I first got my T7i and the kit lens, I thought, nah, I'll be able to use that forever. I'll just use that, I'm sure I'll love it, 18 to 55, it'll be great. After getting this, more lenses will be purchased soon. By all means, I do recommend this lens. So, moving right along, we get to my camera bag. I got the Lowepros 350 like I mentioned in my previous video, and all in all, it's a great bag. It's strong, it's sturdy, it holds its shape well, it's got padding on the back here, which is very comfortable, and you don't feel things like, you don't feel like the bag is stuffed full. It just feels like a normal backpack, as it should. It opens from the back, which means I can easily access all my gear. It has front pockets on the bottom clip around your belt area, so I keep batteries and anything I might need in those pouches. So I really don't have any gripes with this bag. If there was one downside or con that I would say, it's that as I acquire more gear, I want more space. So there's a possibility, a very good possibility, that in the near future I will upgrade from the 350 to the 450. I got the 350 to start out because it was cheaper and I figured it'll serve me more than well, and it has. Next is my form of stabilization and the monopod that I use, which is a Benro monopod. I'll have to get you the exact model number. Reasons that I got this is because I love video work and photo work, but primarily video work, so therefore, as opposed to a tripod, it's very mobile. It's sturdy, it's strong, and this monopod has served me extremely well, especially for weddings and things like that I'm filming right now. As of right now, I don't have any cons with it. If there was one, it would be that I wish that the bottom base legs that extend out were a little bit bigger, simply because I'm filming this right now using my monopod stood up, and it's a little sketchy. Next we have the Joby GorillaPod. I got it for vlogging purposes, plus I was like, it's a tripod too. So, I mean, there's not much that can be said about these. Flexible, they're sturdy. I got the SLR zoom, but I'm considering going to the Focus simply because the Focus is bigger, and therefore as far as holding it out for vlogging, especially with an 18mm lens, a Focus would let me get it a little further out so that it didn't feel like you were all up in my grill as you're watching my video. Next on the list is this little puppy right here. This is a Zoom H4n, not the Pro version, just the basic standard version. And I got this, obviously to record audio, but mainly for weddings. Pros to the H4n is that it's a great way to capture audio. It is very easy to understand. I didn't even read the manual. I just jumped right in and figured it out. Maybe 5 minutes, I figured everything out. I did YouTube how to use and set up the input jacks at the bottom, but that didn't take long either. So it's good, it's small, it holds good audio, plus it's very versatile. I play the guitar, so I could plug my acoustic right into the base of this and get some guitar riffs hammered out like that. What I primarily use this for when it comes to weddings is I plug this straight into the DJ soundboard, and that has worked like a dream ever since the first time I tried it out. The first time I tried it out, I was actually a little nervous because I was like, I needed to get good audio for the ceremony. So I was like, ugh, hope this works. And it turns out it did. So we're good. Next is the Shure VP83. So pros to the Shure VP83 is that it's cheaper than the Rode VideoMic Pro, and I think the audio is better. However, being that Rode just introduced the Video Pro Plus, might have to try that out and maybe upgrade. We'll see. I don't even know how much that costs though yet, so we're gonna have to go from here and just check it out, I guess. Cons or downsides to the Shure? I don't really have any. None right now. As far as the camera bag, that's just about it. Otherwise, just keep in there a small flashlight, the screwdriver that I mentioned in the vlog video, some cables to hook to the DJ soundboard for the H4n, and backup batteries. That's literally about it. So aside from my camera bag and gear itself, something else that I figured I'd mention is that I edit photos on Photoshop and Lightroom, and video in After Effects and Adobe Premiere. Lightroom has to be my favorite editing software, period. It's simple, it's straight, it's direct to the point. If I had to choose my favorite piece of gear, my favorite piece of gear right now is probably, aside from the camera body, which is obviously necessary, has to be the 100mm Canon macro lens, f2.8. Like I said, that thing is phenomenal. It's sharp. Whew. Blew the doors off of every other lens that I have. Granted, it's like $800 comparatively, but nonetheless, it's an amazing lens and probably my favorite piece of gear. So, question of the day, or question for anyone watching this, what is your favorite piece of gear in your camera bag? It could be a lens, it could be ND filters, UV filters, your mic, your tripod, anything. If it's a rubber scrunchie that you're like, you know what, I just absolutely need this thing and I use it for everything, comment down below and tell me what it is. Alright guys, that does it for me. That is everything in my camera bag and everything that I take out with me for photo and video shoots. Follow me and connect with me on Instagram. You'll find that in the description with all the other links. Subscribe to this channel and like this video for more content. I'm off to go push my creative boundaries and limits, and I challenge all of you to do the same thing. Until next time, deuces. You know, I would have loved to do the little hat toss onto the camera, but like I said, you're on a monopod, and I don't really feel like paying for a new camera body, microphone, and lens, so I figured we'll just do the spinning chair walk-off.